When do we panic, Joel? Should we be panicking right now?
No, when we didn't get Jose Ramirez last year, that's what now.
You're like, I've been in a constant state of panic for a year, Scott. You brought something up, Joel, I want to talk about really quickly here. We can get back to what you're saying. You mentioned now is the time to re-up on the Bo Bichettes and the Vladdy Guerreros of this Blue Jays franchise. At least the two of them, you would think, are in line for an extension. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
now
these are the teams with multiple contracts worth $280 million or more. Okay. So the Yankees have 3 with Judge, Stanton, and Cole. Padres have 3 with Machado, Tatis, and Bogarts. And then the Phillies have 2 with Harper and Turner.
Mm-hmm.
They're obviously going to need to bolster this lineup in certain places. We just talked about this. They still need a lefty bat. There are free agents out there that would fill that hole. There are trade options out there. But if you are going to go all in on Vladdy and Bo, and I would hope that that is somewhat the plan of this front office, or at least locking up one of them long term, because we're watching what's going on with the Red Sox and this homegrown talent that constantly just leaves the city, which is killing that franchise right now. And I don't want to be in the Boston Red Sox spot come 2026. That would be a freaking nightmare, right? How big do they think, you're looking at the landscape right now? Is now the time in this landscape that seems like everyone's getting a ton? Or do you think that the market could correct? Or should they just say, screw the market, give Vladdy $350 million, give Bo $350 million and call it a day?
Yeah, you just give it to them, right? Is that just a button that's just so easily pressed?
Yeah,
just do it, right? When I saw Xander get 280 for the Padres, who already have a $330 million shortstop who doesn't play that often, when I look at that,
and you're talking about Machado,
at least Seattle did it with Rodriguez, Julio. What they signed him to? 230. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay signing Wander Franco. Like this doesn't seem like every team can do it except us. We like to sign.
And that's been frustrating, because this is one thing we have seen this front office do that we haven't seen former Blue Jays front offices do, is spend, right? Mm-hmm. They went out and they did get Springer. They have had, for the first time in Blue Jays history, there's 3 $100 million contracts on this team. But you know what we haven't seen this front office do is the mega deal to lock up their homegrown talent. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to be doubtful if this is even coming. Where are you at on this?
You're not going to get better guys at this age, right? You're not. You're like, the next crop will be better than the kid who hit 90 bombs in the home run derby and set the record for most home runs as a 22-year-old in the American baseball history. Oh, mm-hmm. The 24-year-old who's led the league in hits twice. This is it. This is the talent that you go long-term on, or you don't, or you stay the team that does the 5-year deals, that stays. If the big teams are doing 350 to 450, we'll stick in the 150 range, and we'll stay in the AL East, and we'll never be truly competitive. And the best year was 2 years ago, and we should have won the World Series then, when we had 40 home runs at pretty much every single spot on that lineup. And we didn't make it because our run differential said we should have had 10 more wins, and we didn't even make the playoffs. And if that's the peak, if that was our peak, and now we're going to go down because we're not willing to say to Bo is 24 years old. Okay. I said it. He is better than Xander Bogaerts at 24 years old. He's better than Trey Turner at 24 years old. These guys are signing 300 at 30. Mm-hmm. Why can't we do 300 at 24? What's wrong with us? We can't do it? Is that just we're not?
I'm muted
Can't
here.
hear you, Adam.
Sorry.
Oh,
I think the logistics for the contracts of signing these young superstars is complicated. Like we just watched Juan Soto get traded away from Washington because they couldn't work out a deal. Um, I don't think we've really seen other than like you mentioned Julio Rodriguez in Seattle, Wander Franco with the Rays, right? We saw a couple guys with Atlanta. Like if you're like really young, we have kind of the
A
market has
template.
been set. There's a template to follow. Whether you agree with it or not, there is a precedent of like someone to compare it to, but we don't necessarily have guys that are 3 years away from free agency, are super young, are going to be super young, just get into their prime
Mm-hmm.
as they're a free agent. Like we don't know what the actual value of buying out 3 years of arbitration and then also tacking a mega deal on top of that actually looks like. We haven't seen it yet. Like nobody's offered a contract to Juan Soto that he's happy with, right? We haven't seen, like, everybody else has just gotten to free agency or been bought out 6 years of team control, right? And then I don't even know where we would begin with Bichette, and I think that's got to be part of the stumbling here is what are we talking about for a contract? 300 million, 10 years for Bichette? Because if I'm Bichette, there's no way I'm signing that. Because
well, see,
that puts me to free agency at 34, and then my next contract is going to be dog shit. Like it's still going to be good, and yes, I realize I'm poor, and they're going to make a lot more money at me at 34 than I will next year at 34. But I either want to like give me a contract till I'm 29, so that I still have
yeah,
another chance at a mega contract, or buy me out till I'm 40.
you're
I
you're
don't want anything in the middle.
your hook there though is that you're making $50 million over the next 3 years, over roughly in that range, over your arbitration amount.
Yeah.
Right. So in the short term, like that's your bargaining chip. You wait till that's all done, then you don't, like, not saying Judge didn't sign with the Yankees after all that was said and done. But right now, your sway over these players is that we will sign you long term now, and over the next 3-4 years, you're going to make so much more money.
So what's okay? So let's just take Vladdy for example.
Yeah.
What would be the average annual value that you think Vladdy should get? Do you think 10 years? Do you think 15 years? What do you think for like? Just let's throw a number. Let's break this down.
Bo and Vladdy are very different.
Of course.
Okay. To me, I feel like they project very, very different. I feel Vladdy will hit to 40. I feel Vladdy will be very David Ortiz-like in his late 30s. I feel his body type and the way that he swings is conducive to a longer hitting career than Bo. Bo is a smaller body frame. I feel like if the hands start to slow down in the early
like
30s,
Trey Turner, like we're talking.
Yes,
I feel earlier, right.
Right. So I feel like but that's a 9-year contract. That's a 10-year deal until you're starting to sniff at Bo decline offensively.
Mm-hmm.
His decline is 9 years from now. Trey Turner's decline could be next year on that type of deal. So what I'm saying is that if Tatis is signing 320, and he doesn't even play, right? They were willing to. They looked at that guy and they said, that guy right now, we can trust him. He's not going to do drugs. He's not going to drive motorbikes and crash and hurt himself. We can trust him to the tune of $250 million. Okay. But we look at Bo, who's played 159 games back-to-back seasons, is the first guy on the field, the last guy off the field, competitive to the absolute end, has it built in him generationally, and if you don't think that that's the guy to throw 320, 330 at, he is an elite level shortstop. He is. He's defensively, no, but that bat is godly. That bat could win a batting title. That bat can hit 30 home runs, knock in 100. He can hit first, second, third, fourth in line.
Sure. I'm with you there. Like Bo's great. He's young. Yeah. The next 10 years of Bo are gonna be elite. Like I'm not zero argument for me on that. But where do we start with a real contract? Like, what's the actual contract that you
It's
think?
probably going to take what,
I'd start
350, 11
10.
years?
I'd go 10 years and 300 million, see where that sits. And like I said, because you got him making way more money over the next 3 years, I would like to hear how that offer plays. You're telling me that Aaron Judge was offered a 7-year, $210 million deal at the beginning of last season? Like, I just feel like I don't think that those offers are being made by this organization. I don't think they're sitting down and saying, "Bo, would you take 10 years, 300 million?"
Because Xander's AAV is 25 million a year.
Yeah.
What do you think you need for Bo? 30 AAV? 10 over 300?
Bo is going to kill Xander over the next 10 years. He's
So
going to
you
kill him.
probably need, so is 5 million more a year fair to
He's
start?
going to outproduce 5 million more over
Yeah.
the next 10 years. Xander at
So do you
35
think-
compared to Bo at 27?
Then how about this? Adam, even. If you're Bo Bichette, do you take 10 years, $300 million? Or do you wait for
No.
free agency?
There's no way I would take that offer if I'm Bo, because I'm looking at career earnings. Everything about Bo Bichette's behavior tells me he's a bet on himself kind of guy, right? He turned down the Blue Jays
Yeah.
stupid $50,000 raise situation, right? Like, he's betting on himself. He's betting on himself having another 16 years of baseball, or at least getting a contract that pays him to 40, regardless of performance. So I'm looking at, you know what? I'll take my 5 mil in arbitration this year, and my 10 mil the year after that, and my 15 the year after that. I'll take my 30 million over the next 3 years. But then I'm going to be 27 as a free agent, and 3 years from now, the market is only going to go up. Like, the contracts are not going to fall back down to earth. Or I'm not banking on that happening.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, I made 30 million over the next 3 years. Amazing. That's loads of money compared to the 700,000 I have been getting. So that's loads of money. And then when I turn 27, I'm going to sign a 13-year deal for well over 400 million. Maybe 500 if I have an MVP season, if I have a batting title. That number is going to push closer to 500. I'm not saying that he's going to be the highest paid player in the league. I'm not. I'm saying the market is going to continue to grow over the next 3 years. And he's going to be paid like one of the top baseball players. So if I'm Bo Bichette, I'm looking at least 400 million on a 13-year deal right now, or else I'm not even having that conversation.
It's so wild to me how much this market has changed the way I view Bo Bichette and Vladdy Guerrero. Like, if you take me back even 6 months and I'm like, 300 million for Bo? You can't do that. That's not a thing you should be doing. And now I'm like, frick, maybe you got to. Like, look at the price of going out and getting a high level elite shortstop. It is through the roof. And I kind of look at Vladdy and I'm like, maybe you do it. Maybe you go to him and you say $500,000, 15 years, you're a Blue Jay for life, and just
500 million.
500 million.
Yeah, no, I see my concept, like Adam.
That's
I
33. That's 33 million a year, by the way.
And I hear you on Bo betting on himself, but I'm looking at the deal that Tatis signed. Tatis has that mindset. I'm looking at the deal that Rodriguez signed, Wander Franco signed. These guys have that same confidence in themselves. And they're signing them at 21, 22, 23.
Right.
Until
because
30.
it eats so much of their arb years, it is going
Right?
to wind up valuing up for them. Yes.
Yeah.
But Bo's
And-
not that young anymore, is my point. Like,
No.
we missed the
Yes,
window.
that's true. He is 24. But to me, if you put 12 years on a deal for Bo Bichette and you're bringing Bo in at 35, am I so heartbroken that I have 35-year-old Bo Bichette? A hell of a lot less heartbroken than having 41-year-old Xander Bogaerts.
I agree. We should make an offer now, and we should overpay.
It's
And
just
I
if you
don't think he even is caring to hear about a contract
Yeah.
that ends when he's 34. Like, it either ends when he's 29 or it ends when he's 39. I don't know why. I think it would be insanity and fiscally irresponsible for anyone who's 24, 25, and 3 years away from free agency to legitimately look at any offer unless it's absurd.
If you're still competitive at 33, like Simeon signed, what did he sign at 31?
Oh, look, you
Right,
guys
like,
keep
Yeah,
talking.
Contracts do
175,
not seem to stop.
175 million.
What
Yeah,
did Freddie Freeman
175
sign
million.
at 33, right? If you are still clicking offensively at 33, you sign another five. What did DeGrom sign? DeGrom hasn't even played baseball in the last 2
Well,
years.
pitchers get
He's
overpaid
34 years.
anyways.
Yeah.
Sure, right? Like 150 million at 34. Verlander, 40 years old, 85 million over 2. Like, the contracts don't stop. They don't stop now. Somebody's gonna pay. So
I don't know.
now get their young
170
players.
look, yeah, $175 million contract at age 31 is nice, but again, it's not 400 million.
No, but when you bank 300, it's 475,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's 475 for Bo Bichette over his career. If he makes that,
I don't
he's
think
got a.
I don't think
If
he's
he
getting
would do it, I'm in.
175 million at 34 years old.
If Bo Bichette puts up 33 home runs as a 33-year-old, somebody's gonna in 10 years, the number of contracts will go up even more. It'll be $250 million for 7
I don't know.
years.
It'll be honestly, I think the closest thing we're gonna have to a template is Carlos Correa, whatever he signs, because he's 27 right now. He's going
Mhm.
to get, in his mind, hopefully a mega deal. He is the best, youngest superstar shortstop. This is the closest comparable we have to what I think Bo Bichette sees himself as,
Mhm.
right? As
I
being
I
on
swear
that level.
I swear Bo sees himself as, I know Correa's insane platinum glove winning god, but Bo, nobody hits like Bo at 21, 22. As Corey Seager did. Corey Seager had like a 170 OPS plus when he was like 20. That's like the only guy who puts up Bo Bichette numbers.
I know, but I'm just saying, from a contract standpoint, this is the closest comparable we have, and I know it's not perfect, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa is going to sign I bet you, a contract that has an AAV close to 40
Three.
million.
Yeah, 3. He'll got to sign 340, something like that.
Yeah.
That's what he wants.
Okay.
But like I'm saying, if right now those arbitration years are your bargaining chip to be able, if you don't use those to sign those players now, then we're not that team.
Then they lose them in free agency almost
We're
for
just-
sure. I would agree.
We're just
Yeah.
not that team to sign. We'll never be the team to sign guys. If these aren't
So
the 2
let's-
guys that you sign now at that age, it'll never happen.
So
Nobody
let's
will
end
ever-
it on.
I
Babe Ruth
agree
will
we
come
should.
along.
I just think
I
it's
agree.
more complicated than
Let's
just
end it
hand
on
them
this.
big
We'll
money.
end the mega contract extensions to Bo and Vlad on the fact that it does take 2 to dance. I'm all for it. I think you lock those guys up. I agree with everything you've said, Joel. However, I do think that this front office has been proactive, or you at least hope they have, and that they have had these talks with them, and that there's a reason that it hasn't happened yet. I don't know. It could be their philosophy too. Maybe this front office doesn't believe in mega deals, and if that's the case, that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end on this baseball scandal that broke a couple days ago.
We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast, and if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.